My doorbell camera has 43 clips of the same man standing on my porch, and I have never once seen him with my own eyes. Neither has anyone else on my street, because according to the county death records, he stopped existing 11 years before I bought this house. Let me back up. I moved into the place in early spring. Small brick colonial, nothing special, previous owners had already cleared out. First week, I installed one of those smart video doorbells, the kind that sends a push notification the second it detects motion. I didn't do it because I was worried about anything. I did it because my last apartment got package thefts and I was tired of it. Standard stuff. I mounted it, synced the app, felt very proud of myself, and went on with my life. The first notification came 4 days later, at 2:14 in the morning. Motion detected.
I opened the app half asleep, expecting a raccoon or a moth setting off the sensor, and instead I saw a man standing at the edge of the porch light, facing the door. Not moving.
Just standing there, arms at his sides. The video was 8 seconds long, grainy the way night vision always is, and he never got close enough for the doorbell to trigger the actual ring chime. I figured it was a neighbor who'd had too much to drink and wandered onto the wrong porch. I went back to sleep. That's the kind of thing you tell yourself at 2 a.m. when you want to keep sleeping. Here's the first thing that should have bothered me more than it did. My porch light is motion activated too, on a separate switch, and in that clip, it never turned on.
He's standing directly under it.
A week passed with nothing. Then it started happening every few nights. Always between 2 and 3 in the morning, always the same distance from the door, always facing it, never ringing the bell, never leaving footprints. I checked, because we'd had a light frost one of those nights and the porch was bare snowdust the next morning, undisturbed. I started saving the clips instead of deleting them, telling myself I'd show a neighbor eventually, get a second opinion on whether this was a real person messing with me or just a compression artifact. Some glitch in the infrared processing that was inventing a silhouette out of static. I brought it up with the woman 2 doors down, mostly as small talk, half joking about my new haunted doorbell. Her face changed in a way I didn't like. She asked if I knew who used to live in my house. I said no, the listing agent had been vague about it, just called it an estate sale.
She told me the man who owned the house before the people I bought it from had died in the living room.
Heart attack, she thought, though nobody her age had really talked about the details. She didn't know an exact year. She just remembered it being sudden, and remembered the house sitting empty a long time after. I didn't sleep great that night, but I told myself a heart attack in the living room 40 feet from my porch camera meant nothing. People die in houses. Houses get resold. That's just what houses are. The clips kept coming, and around the 3rd week I noticed something that finally made my stomach drop instead of just prickle. In the earliest videos, he'd been out of frame enough that I couldn't see his face, just a shape backlit by the street lamp behind him. But clip by clip, he was standing a few inches closer to the camera each time. Not dramatically. Just enough that after 2 weeks, I could see he was wearing a cardigan. After 3, I could see he had glasses.
By the 4th week, in the clip timestamp 2:41 a.m. on a Tuesday, he was close enough that the camera's low-light sensor caught his eyes, and they were pointed directly at the lens, like he knew exactly where it was mounted and had known the whole time.
That's when I actually looked him up. Not the neighbor's vague second-hand story, actual records. County Property History, an old obituary archive, a local newspaper's digitized microfiche that still had a search bar. It took me 2 nights of digging, but I found him. Same house address.
A man named Walter, 74 years old, found by a home health aide on a Thursday morning, already gone for what the coroner's note guessed was a day and a half.
Cardigan mentioned in the obituary photo.
Glasses.
The article was from 11 years before my closing date. I want to tell you I called the doorbell company that night, and I did, and support was useless in the way support always is. They ran a diagnostic, said the firmware was current, said there was no known bug producing a false humanoid detection at that consistent an interval, and then, almost as an afterthought, the technician mentioned that my device's motion log showed something odd. The sensor wasn't detecting him as motion at all. It was detecting him as a stationary heat signature that periodically appeared and disappeared, the same way the camera reads a person already standing still inside a room, not someone walking up from the yard. I asked what that meant. She said she didn't know, that it wasn't a category their software was built to flag, and then she transferred me to a queue that never picked up. Last week I stopped sleeping through the notifications and started staying up for them instead. Tuesday, 2:44 a.m., I watched the live feed instead of the recorded clip, which I'd never done before. He was already there when I opened the app, same distance as always, and for the first time since this started, he wasn't looking at the camera.
He was looking at the door handle.
And then, on the feed, in real time, with the door locked and me sitting 11 feet away from it on the other side, the video shows him take 1 step forward, and the door frame behind him, the actual wood, the actual paint I picked out myself, bends around him like a lens flare, like the door was open and he was walking through it, though when I checked 30 seconds later with my own hand on the deadbolt, it hadn't moved. I have 43 clips now of a dead man standing closer to my door than he was the time before, and last week, for the first time, the door started opening for him without ever actually opening at all.
I don't know what happens when the count reaches wherever it's counting to, and I don't know if I'll get a 44th notification tonight, or if next time the doorbell simply won't catch him outside anymore.